I knew something was wrong the moment Jennifer from HR asked me to sit down. Not stand. Not hover by the door like this would be quick. Sit down. In the conference room on the 14th floor of our Seattle office, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay, the one they used for serious conversations, the kind that changed lives. "Thank you for coming in, Zara," Jennifer said, and her voice had that particular softness HR people use when they're about to shatter your world into a million pieces. "I know the last 3 weeks have been incredibly difficult for you." Difficult. That was one word for it. 3 weeks ago, my coworker Bethany had filed a formal complaint against my husband Damon, claiming he'd cornered her in the parking garage after our company holiday party, drunk and aggressive, saying things that made her feel unsafe. The company had launched an investigation. Damon had been placed on administrative leave, and I'd been sitting in our Ballard apartment watching my husband pace and rant about how Bethany was lying, how this was all a misunderstanding, how she'd always had it out for him. I'd believed him. Of course I'd believed him. He was my husband. We'd met at this company 5 years ago, dated for 2, been married for 3. We were the office success story, proof that workplace romance could work if you were mature about it, professional about it, careful about it. Except now, I was sitting across from Jennifer, watching her arrange papers on the table with hands that trembled slightly, and every instinct I had was screaming that nothing about this was going to be okay. My name is Zara Mitchell. I'm 31 years old. I grew up in Tacoma, the oldest of 3 kids, the responsible one who always took care of everyone else. I work in marketing for a tech company in Seattle. My husband Damon works in product development at the same company. And my little sister Amara, 26 and the baby of our family, works in IT here too. A job I helped her get last year when she was struggling in Portland, when she needed a fresh start and I wanted to help her the way I'd always helped her growing up. The 3 of us, all at the same company, all tangled up in each other's lives in ways that had seemed sweet and convenient until this exact moment. As part of our investigation into Bethany's allegations, Jennifer continued, we conducted a comprehensive review of company communications, emails, internal messaging systems, any documentation that might be relevant. I nodded. Damon had told me they'd do this. He'd seemed confident, almost cocky about it, said his messages would prove Bethany was lying, that there was nothing to find. During that review, we discovered communications that, while not directly related to Bethany's complaint, we felt you needed to be made aware of. Jennifer's eyes met mine, and I saw something like pity swimming there. These messages are personal in nature, Zara. They involve your husband and another employee, and I want you to know that you don't have to look at them right now. You can take time. You can have someone here with you. Whatever you need. The room felt suddenly airless. What kind of messages? Inappropriate messages. Between Damon and this other employee. Messages that suggest a relationship beyond professional boundaries. My hands gripped the armrests of my chair. Who? Jennifer hesitated, and in that hesitation, in the way her jaw tightened and her eyes flickered away from mine, I knew. I knew before she said it. Because there was only one name that would make her pause like that. Only one person whose involvement would require this level of careful handling. Your sister, Jennifer said quietly. Amara. The world tilted sideways. Amara, my baby sister. The girl I'd practically raised after our dad left when she was 8. The one I'd helped with homework and college applications and job interviews. The one who called me her best friend. Who'd been my maid of honor at my wedding 3 years ago, crying happy tears as she helped me into my dress, telling me she'd never seen 2 people more perfect for each other than me and Damon. That Amara, and my husband. No, I heard myself say. That's not possible. I'm so sorry, Zara. Jennifer slid a folder across the table. These are printouts of messages our IT team recovered during their investigation. Damon and Amara both created secondary accounts in our internal messaging system. Personal accounts using non-work emails, specifically to communicate off the official channels. The messages go back 8 months. 8 months. The number hit me like a physical blow. 8 months of secret conversations. 8 months of lies. 8 months while I cooked Sunday dinners for both of them, while I took family photos at Thanksgiving, while I bragged to our mother about how well Amara was doing at her new job, the job I'd gotten for her. Jennifer stood. I'm going to give you privacy to review these. Take as much time as you need. And Zara, please know that we're here to support you through this. Whatever you need from the company, we'll make it happen. She left. The door clicked shut with a sound like finality. And I sat alone in that conference room with the rain starting to spatter against the windows and a folder full of evidence that my entire life had been a lie. I opened the folder. The messages had been organized chronologically, printed on standard office paper, each one time-stamped and labeled with the sender's name. I could see from the page count that there were hundreds of them. Hundreds of conversations between my husband and my sister, happening in secret while I lived my life completely unaware. The first one was dated May 14th of last year. I remembered that date. It was the day after our third wedding anniversary. Damon and I had gone to Canlis for dinner, one of the nicest restaurants in Seattle. He'd given me diamond earrings. We'd talked about starting a family. It had been perfect. And the next day, this message. From Amara to Damon, sent at almost midnight. She'd written, "I can't sleep. I keep thinking about what happened tonight, about what we did. I feel sick, Damon. She's my sister. What kind of person does this to their own sister?" His response 3 minutes later, "I can't sleep either. I know this is complicated. I know we shouldn't have. But I can't stop thinking about you." Her reply, "We have to stop. This can never happen again." Him, "Can we talk tomorrow? In person? Please, I need to see you." Her, "Where? We can't be seen together." Not like that. Him, "The parking garage. 3rd level, back corner. Nobody goes back there. 1 in the afternoon?" Her, "Okay. But Damon, I'm serious. This has to end. What we did was a mistake. A terrible mistake." Him, "I know. We'll figure it out. I promise." I stared at those words until they blurred. What had happened the night of our anniversary? What had they done? The messages didn't specify, but the guilt dripping from every word told me enough. Something physical. Something they both knew was wrong. Something that had started whatever this was. I flipped to the next page. Their conversation from the following afternoon, after they'd met in the parking garage. Amara had written, "I meant what I said. This can't continue. You're married to Zara. You love Zara. We both love Zara." Damon's response, "I do love her. But I can't stop thinking about you. About last night. About how right it felt. Amara, it wasn't right. It was wrong. In every possible way." Damon, "Then why did it feel like the most honest thing I've done in years?" Amara, "Because we're terrible people? Because we're selfish? Take your pick." Damon, "Or because there's something real between us. Something we didn't plan for but can't ignore." Amara, "We have to ignore it. I'm not doing this to Zara. I won't." Damon, "I'm not asking you to hurt Zara. I'm just asking you to be honest about what you feel. Do you feel it? This connection between us?" A long pause in the timestamps. 17 minutes before Amara responded. Her message, "Yes. God help me. Yes. I feel it. But that doesn't mean we act on it." Him, "What if we already have?" Her, "Then we stop. Right now. Before it goes any further." Him, "Is that what you really want? To pretend this doesn't exist?" Another long pause. 23 minutes this time. Her final message of that conversation, "I don't know what I want anymore, but I know what I should want, and that's to protect my sister. So yes, we pretend this doesn't exist. We move on. We forget it ever happened. But they didn't forget. They didn't move on." The messages continued, page after page after page, and I watched my sister's resolve crumble in real time. Watched my husband chip away at her defenses with persistence and charm, and promises that they could keep it secret, that they could explore these feelings without hurting anyone, that what I didn't know wouldn't hurt me. By late May, the messages had shifted. Less guilt, more logistics. They were meeting regularly. The parking garage, a coffee shop in Fremont, far from our neighborhood. Once, horrifyingly, at our apartment when I was out of town for a work conference. A message from Damon in early June. She just texted that she landed in San Francisco. We have the whole weekend. Amara's response, "I can't come to your apartment. That's too much. That's her home." Him, "It's my home too, and I want you here, please." Her, "Damon, there are pictures of her everywhere. Your wedding photos are on the wall." Him, "I'll put them away. I'll make it comfortable for you. I just want to spend real time with you. Not stolen minutes in a parking garage. Real time." A pause. Then, "Okay, but just this once. And we can't make this a habit." Him, "Thank you. I promise you won't regret this." I had to stop reading. Had to stand up and walk to the window and press my forehead against the cold glass, because the alternative was screaming or throwing up or both. They'd been in my apartment, in my home. While I was at a work conference doing my job, trusting my husband and my sister, they'd been in my home together. Had they been in my bed? The thought made my stomach heave. I pushed it away, forced myself back to the table, back to the folder. If I was going to survive this, I needed to know all of it. Every detail. Every lie. If you're listening to this, and you've ever felt that moment when your entire reality shifts, when everything you thought was solid turns out to be sand, stay with me, because this gets so much worse before it gets better, and I need you to hear this story all the way through. Hit subscribe, turn on those notifications, because what I found in those messages changed everything. The summer messages were a strange mix of passion and guilt. They talked about their feelings constantly. Damon kept calling it a connection, something rare and special. Amara kept calling it a betrayal, something that would destroy me if I ever found out. But neither of them stopped. Neither of them chose to do the right thing. In July, they started talking about the future, about what would happen if they went public, if Damon asked me for a divorce. Damon had written, "I've been thinking about this seriously, about us, about what it would take to make this real." Amara. Real means leaving Zara. Real means destroying her. Real means I lose my sister forever. Him. Not forever. She'd be hurt at first, but she'd understand eventually. She'd want us to be happy. Her. Are you insane? She would never understand this. Never forgive this. You don't know her like I do. Him. Maybe you're underestimating her. Zara's strong. She's resilient. She'd survive. Her. Survive isn't the same as be okay. Survive isn't the same as forgive. You're talking about her like she's an obstacle instead of a human being. Him. I'm not trying to diminish her. I'm just being realistic. If we want to be together, really together, then I have to leave the marriage. There's no other way. Her. And you'd actually do that? Leave her for me? Him. I'm considering it. Seriously considering it. Her. When? Him. After my promotion goes through. After things settle down at work. Probably early fall. Her. You keep saying that. You've been saying that for months. When are you actually going to do it? Him. When the timing is right. I can't just blow up my marriage on a whim. I need to be strategic. Her. Strategic. God, listen to yourself. We're talking about my sister's life and you're being strategic about it. Him. What do you want me to do? Just walk in one day and tell her I'm leaving her for you? That would destroy everyone. Her. This is already destroying everyone. We're just the only ones who know it. August brought more of the same. Promises from Damon that he'd tell me soon, that he just needed more time. Frustration from Amara that nothing was changing, that they were stuck in this limbo. And all the while, I was living my life completely oblivious. Going to work, coming home to Damon, having Sunday dinners with Amara, planning our future, believing in our marriage. I remembered a specific Sunday in August. I'd made pasta from scratch, Damon's favorite. Amara had brought wine. We'd sat on our little balcony watching the sunset, and I'd been so happy, so grateful for my family, for having both of them in my life, for the way they got along so well. I'd said something about how lucky I was to have my two favorite people in the world getting along so beautifully. I remembered the look they'd exchanged. Quick, guilty, gone in a flash. At the time, I'd thought nothing of it. Now I knew. They'd been sleeping together. Had probably been together earlier that same day, before coming to my apartment to play Happy Family. The September messages showed cracks forming. They'd started fighting. About the secrecy, about Damon's promises, about whether he'd ever actually leave me. Amara had written, "It's been 4 months. 4 months of you saying you'll tell her soon, that you just need a little more time. I'm starting to think you never will." Damon's response, "That's not fair. This is complicated." Her, "It's only complicated because you're making it complicated. Either you want to be with me, or you don't. Either you're going to leave Zara or you're not. Stop stringing me along." Him, "I'm not stringing you along. I love you. I want to be with you. I'm just trying to do this in a way that minimizes the damage." Her, "There's no way to minimize this damage. This is going to destroy Zara no matter how or when you tell her. You're just stalling because you're afraid." Him, "Of course I'm afraid. I'm about to blow up my entire life. Give me some grace here." Her, "I've been giving you grace for months. What I need now is action. Tell her or I will." Him, "You wouldn't." Her, "Try me." Him, "If you tell her, you lose her forever. You know that, right?" She might forgive me eventually. We're married, we have history. But you, her own sister, she'll never forgive that betrayal. Her, I'll never forgive myself for it either. So what's the difference? Him. Please, just give me until the end of the year. After the holidays. I promise I'll tell her then. Her. You said after your promotion. Then you said early fall. Now you're saying after the holidays. Do you see the pattern here? Him. I see that I'm trying to navigate an impossible situation. Cut me some slack. Her. I'm done cutting you slack. End of the year, Damon. That's the deadline. Tell her by New Year's or I will. But October came and went, with no confession. November arrived and they were still sneaking around. Still lying. Still making plans that involved leaving me in the dark until they decided the timing was right, like I was a child who couldn't handle adult realities instead of a grown woman whose life they were actively destroying. I found the Thanksgiving messages particularly gutting. Amara had written to Damon the week before. I can't come to Thanksgiving at your place this year. I can't sit at that table and smile at Zara while I'm sleeping with her husband. I just can't do it anymore. His response, you have to come. If you don't show up, she'll know something's wrong. She'll ask questions. Her. Then maybe it's time for her to ask questions. Maybe it's time for all of this to come out. Him. Not yet. Please, just get through the holidays and then I'll tell her. I swear. Her. You've been swearing that for months. Him. This time I mean it. I'll tell her in January, right after New Year's. That's the plan. Her. What's the plan exactly? How are you going to tell her? Him. I'll sit her down. I'll be honest. I'll tell her that I've developed feelings for someone else and that I think it's best if we separate. Her. And when she asks who, what are you going to say? Him. I don't know. I haven't figured that part out yet. Her. You have to tell her it's me. She deserves to know the full truth. Him. That will make it so much worse. Her. It is worse. It's her husband and her sister. The two people she trusts most in the world. She needs to know what we did. She needs to know who we are. Him. Let me do this my way, please. Her. Fine. But if you don't tell her by January, I will. I'm done lying to her face. Thanksgiving had come. Amara had shown up at our apartment with sweet potato pie and a smile. We'd eaten and laughed and watched football. I'd taken photos of the three of us, posted them on Instagram with a caption about being grateful for family. Amara had liked the post, had commented with a heart emoji, while planning to steal my husband. December's messages were sparse and tense. They were barely speaking. When they did communicate, it was fights about the same thing. When would Damon tell me? And then came December 20th, the company holiday party, the night everything started to unravel. The messages from that night were chaotic. Amara had written to Damon at almost midnight. What the hell happened with Bethany? People are saying you cornered her in the parking garage. Please tell me that's not true. His response, she's lying. She came on to me, I rejected her, and now she's trying to make me look bad. Her. That's not what people saw. That's not what she's saying. Him. I don't care what she's saying. I know what happened. She's lying. Her. Why would she lie about something like that? Him. Because I rejected her. Because she's mad. I don't know, but I didn't do what she's claiming. Her. Damon, if you did something to her, if you hurt her, I need to know. Him. I didn't. Why are you taking her side? Her. I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm trying to understand what happened. Him. What happened is that a woman is making false allegations against me to save face after I turned her down. That's it. That's the whole story. Her. If that's true, then the investigation will show that. Him. I know it will. I have nothing to hide. Amara's final message that night. Don't contact me again until this is resolved. I can't be associated with you if these allegations are true. I won't. Him. They're not true. Her. Then the investigation will prove it. Until then, we're done. No more messages, no more meetings, nothing. I can't risk my job or my reputation on this. Him. You're serious? Her. Completely. We're over, Damon. For real this time. That was the last message in the file. December 20th. The night Bethany filed her complaint. The night Amara finally ended it. And for the last 3 weeks, while I'd been supporting Damon through his administrative leave, believing his version of events, trusting that Bethany was lying and the investigation would clear his name, he'd been keeping this massive secret, this 8-month affair with my sister, this betrayal that made Bethany's allegations look almost trivial by comparison. I sat back in my chair, the folder still open in front of me, and tried to process what I'd just read. Tried to understand how two people I loved, two people I trusted completely, could have done this to me. For 8 months. 8 months of lies and sneaking around and planning a future that involved discarding me like I was disposable. The door opened. Jennifer came back in, her expression carefully neutral. "How are you doing?" I laughed. It came out harsh and broken. "How am I doing? I just found out my husband has been cheating on me with my sister for 8 months. How do you think I'm doing?" I know this is a lot to take in. A lot to take in. I repeated the words slowly, tasting the inadequacy of them. That's one way to put it. Another way would be to say that my entire life has been a lie, that the two people I trusted most in the world have been systematically betraying me since last May, that every Sunday dinner, every family gathering, every moment of the last 8 months has been them playing me for a fool. Jennifer sat down across from me. For what it's worth, the company takes this very seriously. Both Damon and Amara violated our code of conduct. They created unofficial accounts specifically to hide their communications from company oversight. That's grounds for immediate termination, separate from whatever personal consequences they face. They're being fired? That's what I'm recommending to the executive team, along with Damon's termination for the allegations regarding Bethany. The investigation into that incident is still ongoing, but combined with this evidence of inappropriate workplace behavior, I don't see how the company can justify keeping him employed. And Amara? Same recommendation. She'll be terminated for violating company policy. I should have felt vindicated. Should have felt some satisfaction that they'd face professional consequences. But all I felt was numb, empty, like someone had scooped out my insides and left only a shell. "What happens now?" I asked. "That's up to you. From an HR perspective, we'll proceed with the terminations. We'll also put together a support package for you. Therapy resources, legal consultation if you decide to pursue divorce, time off if you need it, whatever you need to get through this. I need to talk to them. Both of them. I need to hear them explain this to my face." Jennifer hesitated. "Are you sure that's a good idea right now? You're in shock. Maybe you should take some time, process this, talk to someone before confronting them. I've had 3 weeks of lies, 3 weeks of Damon swearing Bethany was making things up, that he was innocent, that I should trust him. 3 weeks of Amara texting me asking how I was holding up, pretending to be concerned, pretending to be my sister. I'm done with lies. I need the truth. Now." Jennifer nodded slowly. "Okay, let me see what I can arrange. But Zara, please consider having someone with you. A friend, a family member, someone who can support you through this conversation." I thought about who I'd call. My other sister, Kiara. She lived in Portland, would need hours to get here. My mom? She'd have a breakdown. My best friend, Melissa? She was at work, wouldn't be able to drop everything. "I'll be fine alone," I said. "Are you sure?" "I've been alone through this whole thing. I just didn't know it." Jennifer made some calls, arranged for Amara to come in first, since she was currently at work somewhere in the building, said it would take about 20 minutes to get her to the conference room, asked if I wanted water, coffee, anything. I shook my head, told her I just needed time. When Jennifer left again, I pulled out my phone, looked at the text thread with Amara. Her last message to me had been this morning. "Hey sis, wanna grab lunch today? There's a new poke place near the office. So casual, so normal. Like she wasn't the woman who'd been sleeping with my husband. Like she wasn't the person who'd betrayed me in the deepest possible way." I scrolled up through our messages. Months and months of sisterly conversation. Her asking advice about work, about life, about everything. Me giving that advice freely, gladly, because she was my little sister and I loved her. Me helping her with her resume when she was job hunting. Me celebrating with her when she got hired here. Me introducing her to my colleagues, including Damon. Me trusting her completely. What a fool I'd been. There was a knock on the door. It opened before I could respond. And there was Amara. She looked confused, a little worried. She was wearing dark jeans and a company hoodie, her natural hair pulled back in a ponytail, no makeup. She looked so young, so much like the kid I'd helped raise, the teenager I'd taught to drive, the young woman I'd supported through every struggle. "Zara, what's going on? HR said you needed to see me urgently. Is everything okay?" I just stared at her, watched her confusion deepen as she took in my expression, the folder on the table, the tension in the room. "Sit down, Amara." Something in my voice must have warned her. She sat slowly, her eyes never leaving my face. "What's wrong?" You're scaring me. When did it start? When did what start? Don't. My voice came out sharp. Don't you dare lie to me right now. I know everything. So I'm going to ask you one more time. When did it start? The color drained from her face. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. Zara, I don't... May 13th. Your first message to him was May 14th at 11:47 p.m. You wrote, I can't sleep. I keep thinking about what happened tonight, about what we did. So I'm asking you, what happened on May 13th? What did you do with my husband? She looked like she might throw up. How did you... HR found your messages. All of them. 8 months of secret conversations. 8 months of you sleeping with Damon. 8 months of lies. I pushed the folder across the table. It's all here. Everything. So don't insult me by pretending you don't know what I'm talking about. Amara's hands shook as she opened the folder. I watched her face as she read the first page. Watched the reality settle over her. Watched her start to cry. I'm sorry, she whispered. God, Zara, I'm so sorry. Sorry for what? Sorry you did it or sorry you got caught? Both. Neither. I don't know. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. I never meant for this to happen. I never meant to hurt you. But you did hurt me. For 8 months you hurt me. Every single day. Every Sunday dinner where you sat at my table and smiled at me while you were fucking my husband. Every family gathering where you pretended to be my sister while you were planning to steal my life. You hurt me over and over and over again. I know. You're right. I'm a terrible person. I don't want your self-pity. I want answers. What happened on May 13th? She wiped her eyes, her hands still shaking. We were all at that work happy hour, the one for the product launch. You left early, remember? You had that dinner with your college friends. I remembered. I'd felt bad about leaving, but Damon had insisted I go, said he and Amara would be fine without me. Damon and I stayed, Amara continued. We were drinking, talking. He was telling me about some problems you guys were having, about feeling disconnected, about wondering if the marriage was as good as it used to be. Rage flared in my chest. We weren't having problems. Our marriage was fine. That's not what he told me. He said you'd been distant, that you'd been prioritizing work over the relationship, that he felt lonely. So he lied to you too. Great. What happened next? We had too much to drink. We were laughing about something stupid. And then we weren't laughing anymore. We were just looking at each other. And he kissed me. The words hung in the air between us. He kissed me. Like it was simple. Like it didn't destroy everything. And you kissed him back. Yes. Her voice was barely audible. I kissed him back. And then what? We left. Went to his car. We talked about how wrong it was. How it could never happen again. And then it happened again. In the car. And I went home and I felt sick and guilty and horrible. I texted him that night telling him it was a mistake. That we had to forget it ever happened. But you didn't forget. No. He kept reaching out. Kept saying we had this connection, this chemistry, that he'd never felt this way before, that maybe it meant something. And I was weak. I was so weak, Zara. I let myself believe him. I let myself think that maybe this was real, that maybe it wasn't just a drunken mistake. You let yourself rationalize sleeping with your sister's husband. Yes. She was sobbing now, her whole body shaking. Yes, I did, and I hate myself for it. I've hated myself every single day since. But not enough to stop. I tried. Multiple times I tried to end it, but he'd convince me to give it another chance, to wait just a little longer. He kept promising he'd leave you, that we'd be together for real. I believed him. I laughed bitterly. He was never going to leave me, Amara. He wanted both of us. The respectable wife at home and the exciting secret girlfriend on the side. And you let him have that. You let him use both of us. I know. I see that now. But at the time, I really thought... She stopped, shook her head. It doesn't matter what I thought. What matters is that I betrayed you. My own sister. The person who's always been there for me. Who's always protected me. Who helped me get this job. I betrayed you in the worst possible way. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this, Amara. Sorry doesn't give me back the last 8 months of my life. Sorry doesn't undo the fact that I trusted you completely, and you destroyed that trust. I know. I know there's nothing I can say that makes this okay. There's no apology big enough. She reached across the table like she was going to touch my hand. I pulled back. I just need you to know that I do love you. I always have. What I did, It wasn't about not loving you. It was about being weak and selfish and making terrible choices. You're right about one thing. You are weak and selfish. But don't tell me you love me. Love doesn't do this. Love doesn't betray someone for 8 months. Love doesn't plan to steal someone's husband. You don't know what love is, Amara. You never did. She flinched like I'd slapped her. What happens now? Now? Now you're fired. HR is terminating you for violating company policy. So is Damon. You're both losing your jobs, I figured. And I never want to see you again. Her head snapped up. Zara, please. No, you don't get to please me. You don't get to ask for forgiveness or understanding or a chance to make this right. You made your choices. For 8 months, you chose him over me. So now I'm choosing me over you. We're done. As sisters, as family, as anything. You're dead to me. You don't mean that. I've never meant anything more in my life. I stood up. Get out. I'm done looking at you. Zara, get out. She stood slowly, still crying, still shaking, walked to the door, paused with her hand on the handle. For what it's worth, I do love you. And I really am sorry. I'll regret this for the rest of my life. Good. You should. She left. The door closed. And I sat back down and put my head in my hands and finally let myself cry. Not quiet tears, not dignified grief. Full body sobs that shook my whole frame, that emptied out everything I'd been holding in for 3 weeks, for 8 months, for however long I'd been lying to myself about how good my life was. I don't know how long I cried. Long enough that when Jennifer came back in, my face was swollen and my throat was raw and I had no tears left to give. Damon's here, she said gently. Are you ready to see him or do you need more time? I'm ready. Send him in. Jennifer hesitated. Zara, I really think you should have someone with you for this. A friend, a lawyer, someone. I'll be fine. He might try to manipulate you, to convince you that this isn't what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like. He's been cheating on me with my sister for 8 months. There's no spin that makes that okay. Still, I'd feel better if you had support. I looked at her. This woman who barely knew me but was trying to protect me anyway. Stay then. Stay in the room. Be my witness. She nodded. Okay, I'll stay. Damon walked in 2 minutes later. He looked terrible, unshaven, wearing sweatpants and a ratty t-shirt, dark circles under his eyes. He'd clearly been expecting something different because when he saw me sitting there with Jennifer and the folder full of messages, his face went pale. Zara, baby, what's going on? Don't call me baby. Sit down. He sat. His eyes kept darting to the folder, to Jennifer, back to me. I don't understand. Why is HR here? Why did they call me in? They found your messages. All of them. You and Amara. 8 months of secret conversations about your affair. I watched the blood drain from his face. Watched him process what I'd just said. Watched him try to formulate a response. A lie, a defense. I can explain. No, you can't. There's no explanation that makes this okay, so don't even try. Zara, please. Just let me. Let you what? Let you lie to me some more? Let you manipulate me into thinking this isn't what it is? I'm done letting you do anything. I'm done being your fool. He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I'd seen 1,000 times when he was stressed. It made me feel nothing. It wasn't supposed to happen. We didn't plan it. But it did happen. For 8 months it happened. 8 months of you sleeping with my sister while coming home to me every night. 8 months of promises to her that you'd leave me. 8 months of promises to me that you loved me and our marriage was solid. You played both of us. I do love you. Stop. Don't say that. Don't insult me by pretending any of this was about love. You wanted excitement. You wanted the thrill of something secret and wrong. And you didn't care who you hurt to get it. He leaned forward, his voice desperate. I made a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake. But it's over. Amara and I ended things weeks ago. It's done. You're right, it's done. This marriage is done. I want a divorce. No. Zara, no. Don't say that. We can work through this. We can go to therapy. We can rebuild trust. There's nothing to rebuild. You destroyed it all. Every bit of trust, every bit of love, every bit of respect. You took our marriage and you burned it to the ground. For my sister. It wasn't about her. Then what was it about? Tell me. Make me understand how you could do this. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, I felt invisible. In our marriage. You were always working, always busy, always prioritizing everything else. And Amara, She paid attention to me. She listened. She made me feel seen. I laughed. Cold. Bitter. So this is my fault? Because I had a job? Because I wasn't available 24/7 to stroke your ego? That's not what I'm saying. That's exactly what you're saying. You're blaming me for your affair, telling me that if I'd just paid more attention to you, you wouldn't have had to sleep with my sister. Do you hear yourself? I'm trying to explain. I don't want your explanations. I want you to take responsibility, to admit that you made a choice, every single day for 8 months, to betray me, to admit that this wasn't about me not being enough. This was about you being selfish and weak and cruel. He was crying now, actual tears running down his face. I'm sorry. God, Zara, I'm so sorry. I love you. I don't want to lose you. You already lost me. The moment you kissed her, the moment you decided your wants were more important than your vows, you lost me. Please, give me a chance to make this right. I'll do anything. Therapy, accountability, whatever you need. Just don't give up on us. I stood up. There is no us anymore. There's just me, picking up the pieces of a life you destroyed. Sign the divorce papers when you get them. Don't fight me. Don't drag this out. Just let me go. Zara, we're done here. Jennifer, can you please have security escort Damon out of the building? Jennifer nodded, picked up the phone. Within minutes, 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. Damon looked between them and me, his expression desperate. This isn't over, he said. I won't give up on us. I love you too much. You should have thought of that before you destroyed everything we had. The security guards led him out. The door closed, and I was alone with Jennifer in the conference room where my marriage had officially ended. What do you need? Jennifer asked. Tell me what would help right now. I need to go home. I need to pack his things. I need to change the locks. I need to call a lawyer. I need to... My voice broke. I need my life to not be this. I know. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Everyone's sorry. But sorry doesn't fix anything. Sorry doesn't give me back the years I wasted on him. Sorry doesn't undo what they did. No, it doesn't. But what happens next is up to you. You get to decide how this story goes from here. I looked at her. Right now, I don't even know how to get through the next hour. How am I supposed to decide the rest of my life? One step at a time. What's the first thing you need to do? I thought about it. I need to tell my family, my mom, my other sister, before Amara does, before they hear some twisted version from her. Do you want to use the office? I can give you privacy. I nodded. Jennifer left, closing the door behind her, and I pulled out my phone and called my mom. She answered on the second ring. Zara? Hi, sweetie. I was just thinking about you. How's everything? I opened my mouth to tell her, to say the words that would shatter her image of her youngest daughter, of her son-in-law, of our happy family, but nothing came out. I couldn't speak. Zara, you there? Hello? Mom. My voice cracked on the word. Something happened. Something really bad. What? Are you okay? Are you hurt? Damon and Amara, they've been... I couldn't say it. Couldn't form the words. They've been having an affair. For 8 months. Silence. Complete, total silence. Then, what? Damon and Amara. They've been together. Behind my back. Since May. No, that can't be right. Amara would never... She did, Mom. I saw the messages. Hundreds of them. They've been planning to be together. To leave me. It's all real. My mother made a sound I'd never heard before. Something between a gasp and a sob. Oh my God. Oh, Zara. My baby. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then she was crying. My mother, who'd always been strong, who'd held our family together after Dad left, who'd never let us see her break. She was breaking now, and it was my pain that broke her. I need to come home, she said through tears. I'm getting in the car right now. I'll be there in 3 hours. Don't be alone, okay? Call Kiara. Call Melissa. Don't be alone. Okay. I love you so much. You're going to get through this. We're going to get through this together. We hung up. I called Kiara next, my middle sister. Told her the same thing. Got the same horrified response. She promised to come up from Portland tomorrow, to help me however I needed. Then I called Melissa, my best friend since college. Told her everything while she gasped and swore and told me she was leaving work immediately to come be with me. And then I sat in that conference room and waited. Waited for my mom to arrive. Waited for Melissa. Waited for the pain to become manageable, for the shock to wear off, for something to happen that would make this feel less like a nightmare. If you've stuck with me this far, if you've heard this story and felt even a fraction of what I felt in that moment, I want you to know that you're not alone in your pain, that betrayal this deep is survivable, even when it doesn't feel like it. And if this story is helping you process your own hurt, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications, because I need you to hear the rest of this. Melissa got there first. Burst into the conference room like a hurricane, immediately wrapping me in a hug so tight I could barely breathe. I'm going to kill them both. I swear to God, I'm going to kill them. Get in line. She pulled back, looked at my face, and her expression crumbled. Oh, Z, I'm so sorry. This is so messed up, so unbelievably messed up. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward from this. One step at a time. Right now, we're going to go to your apartment, we're going to pack up all of Damon's shit, and we're going to put it on the curb. Then we're going to change the locks. Then we're going to order pizza and ice cream and watch terrible reality TV until your brain stops working. And tomorrow, we'll figure out the next step. What if I can't do this? What if it's too much? It is too much. It's way too much. But you're going to do it anyway. Because you're Zara Mitchell and you're the strongest person I know. And because I won't let you fall apart. I've got you. Your mom's got you. Kiara's got you. You're not alone in this. We left the office together. Jennifer had already processed my request for emergency leave, had given me 2 weeks off with the option to extend if needed, had promised that both Damon and Amara's terminations would be finalized by tomorrow, had given me every company resource available to help with the aftermath. The drive back to my apartment felt surreal. Melissa drove my car while I stared out the window at Seattle passing by, the city where I'd built my life, where I'd met Damon, where I'd thought I was building a future. Now it all felt poisoned, tainted by his betrayal, by Amara's lies, by my own blindness. At the apartment, Melissa helped me pack. We went through our home methodically, separating his things from mine. His clothes, his shoes, his books, his electronics. Everything that was his or that reminded me of him went into boxes. 3 hours later, we had 23 boxes stacked in the living room. You want to keep any of this? Melissa asked, gesturing at the boxes. I looked at them. Our wedding photos, the framed pictures of us on vacation, the little gifts he'd given me over the years. All of it meaningless now. All of it part of a lie. No, I don't want any of it. Put it on the curb. So we did. Carried all 23 boxes downstairs, stacked them on the curb with a sign that said free, watched from the window as neighbors started picking through them, claiming pieces of my broken marriage. My mom arrived around 7. I'd never been so happy to see her. She held me while I cried again, while I told her everything I'd learned, while I relived the worst day of my life in painful detail. She didn't try to make it better, didn't offer platitudes, just held me and let me break. I feel so stupid, I said into her shoulder. How did I not see it? How did I miss this for 8 months? Because you trusted them. Because you're not the kind of person who goes looking for betrayal. Because you believed the people you loved wouldn't do this to you. That doesn't make you stupid. That makes you human. They made a fool of me. No, they made fools of themselves. You did nothing wrong, Zara. Nothing. This is all on them. We ordered pizza. Sat in my living room, now noticeably empty without Damon's stuff. My mom and Melissa flanked me on the couch, both of them trying to make me feel less alone. It helped. Not a lot, but some. Around 9, my phone started ringing. Amara. I declined the call. She called again. And again. After the 4th call, I blocked her number. Then Damon started calling. Same pattern. Call, decline, call, decline. After 6 calls, I blocked him too. They're probably panicking, Melissa said. Realizing they can't control the narrative anymore. Good. Let them panic. My mom looked at me with concern. What are you going to do? Long term? Divorce Damon. That's non-negotiable. I already told him I want one. And Amara? I never want to see her again. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have a baby sister anymore. Just Kiara. My mom's face crumpled. Zara, she's still your sister. I know what she did was unforgivable, but... No. There's no but. She betrayed me in the worst possible way. She slept with my husband for 8 months. She came to my home, ate my food, pretended to love me while planning to take my life. That's not something you forgive. That's not something you move past. I understand you're angry. I'm not angry, Mom. I'm done. There's a difference. Anger would mean I still care enough to feel something, but I don't. When I look at Amara now, I see a stranger, someone I don't know, someone I don't want to know. My mom wiped her eyes. I'm not going to push you. But someday, maybe not soon, but someday you might feel differently. And if you do, that's okay too. I didn't argue, because I knew, with absolute certainty, that I would never feel differently. What Amara had done wasn't something you could forgive and move past. It was something that severed bonds permanently, cut off parts of yourself that could never grow back. That night, I slept in my bed alone for the first time in years, or tried to sleep. Mostly, I just stared at the ceiling, my mind replaying every interaction I'd had with Damon and Amara over the last 8 months, looking for signs I'd missed, moments when I should have known. There were so many. The way they'd exchange glances sometimes, the way Damon would volunteer to give Amara rides home, the way she'd text him and he'd smile at his phone, the Sunday in September when I'd suggested we all go to a movie and they'd both suddenly had conflicting plans, the time in October when I'd tried to hug Amara goodbye and she'd stiffened, pulled away too quickly. I'd noticed all of it, had filed it away as nothing, as normal sibling-in-law dynamics. But it wasn't normal. It was them navigating their secret relationship right in front of me. How many times had they been together in my own apartment? In my bed? The thought made me nauseous. I'd have to get a new bed, new sheets, maybe a new apartment entirely. I couldn't stay in a space they'd contaminated with their lies. Morning came eventually. Gray and cold, rain pattering against the windows. Melissa had slept on my couch, my mom in my guest room. They both appeared in the kitchen as I was making coffee, looking concerned and exhausted. "How are you feeling?" my mom asked. Like my entire life imploded. But I'm standing. That counts for something. Kiara arrived around noon. She hugged me so hard my ribs hurt. I'm going to murder them both. Slowly, painfully. "Get in line," Melissa and my mom said in unison. We spent the day together, ordered lunch, watched movies, avoided talking about the elephant in the room, except when I needed to process out loud. Kiara had questions about the messages, about what exactly they'd said. I answered them all, mechanically, like I was reading someone else's story. Around 3, my doorbell rang. My mom answered it. I heard raised voices. Then she came back into the living room looking furious. "Amara's here. She's in the hallway. She won't leave until you talk to her." Every muscle in my body tensed. "Tell her to go away." I did. She says she'll stand out there all day if she has to. Melissa stood up. "I'll get rid of her." "No." I surprised myself by saying it. "Let her in. I want to hear what she has to say." My mom looked uncertain. "Are you sure?" "No, but I'm going to do it anyway." Amara walked in looking terrible. Worse than yesterday. Red eyes, pale skin, wearing the same clothes she'd had on at the office. She looked at me like I was her last hope. "Thank you for seeing me." "I'm not seeing you. I'm letting you say whatever you came here to say so you'll leave and never come back." She flinched. "Okay, fair enough." She glanced at my mom, at Kiara, at Melissa. "Can we talk alone?" "No. Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of them." "Okay." She took a shaky breath. "I came to tell you that I quit. I submitted my resignation to HR this morning before they could fire me. I'm leaving Seattle, moving back to Portland. You won't have to see me or worry about running into me." "Good. And I wanted to give you this." She pulled a flash drive from her pocket, set it on my coffee table. "It's everything. All the messages between Damon and me from the beginning. Not just the work messages HR found, everything. Personal texts, emails, all of it. I exported it all so you'd have a complete picture of what happened. For the divorce, for your own peace of mind, whatever you need." I stared at the flash drive like it was a bomb. "Why would you give me that?" "Because you deserve the truth. All of it. Not just the parts HR happened to find. And because I know you won't believe anything I say. So instead of trying to convince you with words, I'm giving you the evidence. Let our own messages show you what happened." "I don't need more evidence. I have plenty." "Please, just take it. You don't have to look at it now, or ever. But if you ever want to understand, want to know the whole story, it's there." I didn't touch it, didn't acknowledge it, just looked at my sister and saw a stranger. "Is that all?" "No. I need you to know that I'm sorry. I know I said it yesterday, but I need to say it again. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I'm sorry for betraying you. I'm sorry for being weak and selfish and cruel. I'm sorry for hurting you in ways I can never make right." "Okay, you said it. You can go now." "Zara, please. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know what I did is unforgivable. But you're my sister. You're my best friend. You're the person I love most in the world. And I can't lose you. I can't live with knowing I destroyed our relationship. You should have thought of that before you slept with my husband. Tears streamed down her face. I know. You're right. I need you to know that I love you, that I've always loved you, that what happened with Damon, it wasn't about not loving you. It was about me being broken and making terrible choices. You keep saying that, like being broken is an excuse, like making terrible choices absolves you of responsibility. But it doesn't, Amara. You chose this. Every single day for 8 months, you chose to betray me. Those were your choices, your actions, your responsibility. And now you have to live with the consequences. I know, I accept that. Her voice broke. I just wanted you to hear me say I'm sorry. One more time, before I leave and you never have to see me again. I heard you. Now go. She stood there for another moment, like she was waiting for me to change my mind, to soften, to give her some sign of forgiveness or hope. But I had nothing left to give her. Nothing but anger and hurt and the deep, bone-level certainty that we were done. She left. The door closed, and I picked up the flash drive, walked to my kitchen, and threw it in the trash. You're not going to look at it? Kiara asked. No, I don't need to see more. I've seen enough. But later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, I found myself pulling the flash drive out of the trash, wiping it off, plugging it into my laptop. I don't know why. Maybe because I needed to understand. Maybe because I needed the complete picture. Maybe because some part of me was still looking for evidence that this wasn't as bad as it seemed, that there was some explanation that would make it hurt less. The drive had dozens of folders. Text message exports, email exports, photos, even voice messages. Years of communication between Amara and Damon, not all of it romantic. There were messages from before the affair started, back when they were just in-laws who got along well. I opened a folder labeled May 2024 and started reading the text messages. They were more detailed than the work messages, more explicit, more painful. They'd texted constantly, every day, multiple times a day, planning when they could meet, reminiscing about times they'd been together, talking about their feelings in ways that made me want to throw my laptop across the room. One exchange from early June destroyed me. Damon had texted, I miss you. It's only been 4 hours since I saw you and I already miss you. Amara's response, I miss you too. This is crazy. We're crazy. Him, crazy in love. Her, don't say that. Him, why not? It's true. I'm falling in love with you, A. I can't help it. Her, you're married. You can't fall in love with me. Him, too late. Already happened. Her, what are we going to do? Him, I don't know, but I can't lose this. I can't lose you. Her, you might have to choose. Eventually. Him, then I choose you. Is that what you want to hear? I choose you. Her, you don't mean that. Him, I've never meant anything more. I closed the laptop, couldn't read anymore. The pain was too sharp, too immediate. Seeing their relationship spelled out in such explicit detail, seeing Damon declare his love for my sister while still married to me, it was too much. I should have left it in the trash. The next few days blurred together. My mom stayed through the week. Kiara went back to Portland but called every day. Melissa came by after work to check on me. Everyone was trying so hard to help, to make this easier, but nothing could make it easier. Nothing could undo what had been done. I called a divorce attorney, a woman recommended by Melissa, known for being tough and thorough. We met in her office downtown, and I told her everything. Showed her the HR folder, the flash drive, all the evidence of Damon's infidelity. This is about as straightforward as it gets, the attorney said. Washington is a no-fault divorce state, but having evidence of infidelity can impact things like spousal support. Though since you both work and have similar incomes, that probably won't be an issue. Do you own property together? The apartment is rented. Both our names on the lease, but I'm planning to break it and find a new place. Good idea. Fresh start. What about assets? Joint accounts, investments, anything like that? We kept our finances mostly separate. Joint checking for household expenses, but our savings and retirement accounts are individual. We don't have kids, no pets, nothing complicated. Then this should move quickly. I'll file this week. He'll be served within a few days. Based on what you've told me, I don't expect him to contest. If he signs the papers promptly, you could be officially divorced in about 90 days. 90 days. 3 months to undo 3 years of marriage. It seemed both too fast and too slow. I signed the paperwork, paid the retainer, left her office feeling like I'd just taken a concrete step toward my new life. Damon tried to call me dozens of times that first week, left voicemails that I deleted without listening to, sent emails that I blocked. He even showed up at my apartment once, but I refused to answer the door. Eventually, he got the message, or his lawyer got the message. Either way, the calls stopped. 2 weeks after everything imploded, I went back to work. Not because I was ready, but because sitting in my apartment, drowning in the wreckage of my life, wasn't helping. I needed routine, purpose, something to focus on besides my failed marriage. Everyone at work knew. Of course they did. HR investigations weren't secret, especially when they resulted in 2 terminations. Plus, the story was too good not to spread. Wife's husband cheats with wife's sister, both working at the same company. Drama that would fuel office gossip for months. People were nice. Overly nice. The way people are when they're simultaneously sympathetic and fascinated. They'd ask how I was doing with expressions that said they were sorry, but also dying for details. I learned to smile and say I was fine and change the subject as quickly as possible. My manager called me into his office my first day back. Zara, I just want you to know that if you need accommodations, if this situation is affecting your work, we can make adjustments. Flex schedule, work from home, whatever helps. I appreciate that. But I think the best thing for me is to stay busy, to focus on work instead of everything else. Understood, but the offer stands. Your mental health matters more than any deadline. It was kind. They were all being kind. But kindness didn't fix anything. It just reminded me that everyone knew. Everyone pitied me. Everyone saw me as Zara, the woman whose husband cheated with her sister. Not Zara, good at her job. Not Zara, marketing lead. Just Zara, the victim. I hated it. A month after the HR investigation, Damon signed the divorce papers. No fight, no attempts to negotiate, just signed them and sent them back through his lawyer. Part of me had expected resistance, had expected him to try to save the marriage or at least drag out the process. But he didn't. Maybe he knew there was nothing left to save. Maybe he'd already moved on. The papers arriving should have felt like closure, like an ending. But mostly it just felt empty. Bureaucratic, years of marriage reduced to signatures on legal documents. I started looking for a new apartment. Couldn't stay in the place where Damon and I had lived, where Amara had visited every week, where too many memories lurked in every corner. Found a 1-bedroom in Capitol Hill, a different neighborhood, a different vibe. Signed the lease and started packing. Moving was cathartic. Every box I packed was a step toward my new life. Every piece of furniture I got rid of was shedding the past. By the time I moved in late February, I'd purged almost everything from my marriage. New apartment, new furniture, new start. I didn't hear from Amara. True to her word, she'd moved back to Portland. Blocked me on social media. Stayed out of my life. My mom tried to talk about her once. Tried to suggest that maybe someday I'd want to reconcile. I shut it down immediately. There would be no reconciliation. No forgiveness. No future where Amara and I were sisters again. That door was permanently closed. Kiara became my only sister. She came up from Portland twice a month to check on me, to take me to dinner, to make sure I wasn't falling apart. She never mentioned Amara. Never suggested I should forgive her. Just supported me in whatever I needed. Spring came slowly. Seattle rain giving way to occasional sun. I started therapy in March, at Melissa's insistence. My therapist, Dr. Rodriguez, specialized in betrayal trauma. She helped me understand that what I was experiencing wasn't just heartbreak. It was a specific type of trauma. Double betrayal. From the 2 people I'd trusted most. It's normal to feel like you can't trust anyone anymore, Dr. Rodriguez said during one of our sessions. When the people closest to you betray you this deeply, it shatters your ability to feel safe in relationships. That's not something that heals quickly. Will it heal? Ever? Yes. But it takes time. And work. And the willingness to be vulnerable again eventually, even though that feels impossible right now. I couldn't imagine ever being vulnerable again, ever trusting anyone enough to let them close. The idea of dating, of trying to build a new relationship, made my stomach turn. How would I ever believe someone when they said they loved me? How would I know they weren't lying the way Damon had lied? You'll know, Dr. Rodriguez said when I voiced these fears. Because you'll be different. You'll ask different questions. Set different boundaries. You'll have learned to trust your instincts instead of talking yourself out of what you're seeing. You won't be naive the same way again. I wasn't sure if that was comforting or depressing. The divorce was finalized in April, 3 months after I'd filed, exactly as the attorney predicted. I got the notification via email while I was at work. Just a simple message. Your divorce has been finalized. You're no longer legally married to Damon Chen. I thought I'd feel something. Relief. Sadness. Something. But I just felt tired. Exhausted from months of pain and processing and trying to rebuild a life I'd never asked to rebuild. That night, Melissa threw me a divorce party. Not the sad kind. The celebratory kind. She invited a bunch of our friends to a bar in Fremont, bought me drinks, made toasts to my freedom. Everyone was supportive and fun, and trying to make this feel like a new beginning instead of an ending. And for a few hours it worked. I laughed, danced, let myself feel something other than grief and anger. Let myself believe that maybe, eventually, I'd be okay. But when I got home that night, alone in my new apartment with my new furniture and my new life, the weight of it all crashed down again. I wasn't married anymore. Wasn't a sister to Amara anymore. Wasn't the person I'd been a year ago, back when my life made sense. I was just Zara, alone, starting over, trying to figure out who that meant I was. Summer brought changes. My company promoted me. A role I'd been working toward for years. Finally mine. It felt like validation. Like proof that I was more than my failed marriage. More than the office gossip. More than what had been done to me. I threw myself into work. Put in long hours. Took on extra projects. Anything to keep busy. To keep my mind occupied with something other than the betrayal. My manager worried I was burning out. My friends worried I was avoiding dealing with my feelings. They were all right. But I didn't care. Work was safe. Work was predictable. Work couldn't hurt me the way people could. In July, I ran into Damon, completely by accident. We were both at a coffee shop in Pioneer Square. He was in line ahead of me, didn't see me until I was right behind him. Zara. He looked shocked, nervous. Hi. Hi. Awkward silence. We hadn't spoken since the day in the HR conference room. Hadn't communicated except through lawyers. Now here we were, face to face in public. How are you? He asked. Fine. You? Good. I'm good. New job. Tech startup in Sodo. It's interesting work. That's good. More silence. He fidgeted with his wallet. Look, I know this is weird, but I've been wanting to reach out. To say I'm sorry. Really sorry. For everything. I handled that whole situation terribly, and you didn't deserve any of it. You're right. I didn't. I hope you can forgive me, eventually. I know it's not reasonable to ask for that now, but maybe someday. I looked at him. Really looked at him. Saw the man I'd loved. The man I'd married. The man who destroyed our life together for an affair with my sister. And I felt nothing. No anger, no pain. Just a vague sense of tiredness. I don't forgive you, I said. And I probably never will. But I also don't think about you anymore. You're just someone I used to know. Someone who hurt me once but doesn't have any power over me now. So you don't need my forgiveness. You need to forgive yourself and move on. That's not my responsibility. He looked like I'd punched him. That's fair. I guess I just hoped. I know what you hoped. But we're done, Damon. Completely done. Take care of yourself. I grabbed my coffee from the counter and left. Didn't look back. Didn't give him another moment of my time or energy. He was my past. And I was done living there. August brought an unexpected development. A message on LinkedIn from a recruiter. A tech company in Austin was looking for a senior marketing director. They'd seen my profile, were impressed by my track record, wanted to talk about the opportunity. Austin. A different city, a different state, a complete fresh start. I took the call. Heard about the role, the company culture, the compensation package. It was a significant step up from my current position. More responsibility, more money, more everything. And it was far away from Seattle, far away from the memories, the places I'd been with Damon, the constant low-level anxiety about running into him or Amara or anyone who knew our story. I'd need to think about it, I told the recruiter. Of course, take your time. But Zara, just so you know, this role was practically designed for someone with your expertise. The team is excited about you specifically. I think you'd be a perfect fit. After the call, I sat on my balcony overlooking Capitol Hill and thought about what it would mean to leave, to pack up and move across the country, to start completely over in a place where no one knew my story, where I wasn't the woman whose husband cheated with her sister. The idea was terrifying. And appealing in equal measure. I called Kiara, Told her about the opportunity. Austin, she said, that's so far. I know, but maybe far is what I need. Maybe I need to be somewhere that doesn't have memories on every corner. What about Mom? What about me? What about your friends? You could visit. I'd visit. It's not like I'd disappear off the face of the earth. Silence on her end. Then, do you want to do this? Or do you feel like you have to run away? That was the question, wasn't it? Was this running or choosing? Both, maybe, I admitted. I want the opportunity. The role sounds amazing. But I also want to be somewhere where I don't have to explain my past to everyone I meet, where I can just be me without all the baggage. Then do it. Take the job. Move to Austin. Build the life you want instead of the life you have left over from what happened. Her support decided it. I called the recruiter back the next day, said yes, started the interview process. By mid-September, I had an offer. By October, I'd given notice at my current job. By November, I was packing up my Capitol Hill apartment and saying goodbye to Seattle. My last week in the city was emotional. Melissa threw me a going-away party. My coworkers took me out for drinks. My mom came up from Tacoma to help me pack and to cry about me leaving. Even though Austin was only a few hours by plane, it felt like I was moving to another world. The night before I left, Kiara came to Seattle. We had dinner at our favorite sushi place, just the two of us. I'm going to miss you so much, she said over sake. You're my person, my only sister now. The words hung between us. Only sister, because Amara wasn't part of our family anymore, not in any way that mattered. Have you heard from her? I asked. First time I'd brought her up in months. Yeah, she texts me sometimes, asks how you're doing. What do you tell her? That you're doing great, that you're moving on, that you don't want to hear from her. Kiara paused. She's struggling, Z, lost her job, having a hard time finding new work because the tech world is small and word got around about what happened. I should have felt satisfaction, vindication, but I just felt empty. That's not my problem. I know, I'm not saying you should care, just thought you should know. Has she asked about Damon? Once. I told her I have no idea. She said they haven't spoken since everything came out. Said it ended the night of the holiday party when Bethany made her allegations. Apparently that was Amara's wake-up call. She realized what kind of man he really was. Too little. Too late. But I didn't say that out loud. Didn't say anything. Just sipped my sake and changed the subject. The drive to Austin took 3 days. I'd packed my car with essentials, shipped the rest, and made a road trip out of it. Drove through Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. Watched the landscape change, felt the distance grow, let myself feel like I was driving towards something instead of away from something. Austin was hot. Even in November, it was warmer than Seattle ever got. The city had a different energy. Younger, looser, more colorful. Live music everywhere. Tacos on every corner. A casualness that felt foreign after Seattle's tech bro seriousness. My new apartment was in East Austin, a neighborhood full of murals and coffee shops, and people who looked like they'd never worked in an office. It was smaller than my Capitol Hill place, but brighter, with big windows that let in Texas sun. I started my new job the Monday after I arrived. The office was downtown, all glass and exposed brick and standing desks. My team was small but talented, 4 people who reported to me, all younger, all hungry to learn. They welcomed me warmly, took me to lunch, seemed genuinely excited to have me there. No one knew my story. No one asked about why I'd left Seattle. I was just Zara, their new director, someone with an impressive resume and ideas about how to grow their marketing strategy. It felt like breathing for the first time in months. If you're still with me, if you've heard this whole painful journey and you're wondering whether it gets better, whether the pain eventually fades, I need you to know that it does, but not in the way you expect. So make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on, because the ending of this story isn't what I thought it would be. The first few months in Austin were about building a team at work, building a social life, building a routine that didn't include checking over my shoulder for ghosts from my past. I joined a running club, started going to yoga classes, made friends with my neighbors, went on a few dates that went nowhere but reminded me I could be attracted to someone without falling apart. Slowly, carefully, I built a life that was mine alone. Therapy continued via video calls with Dr. Rodriguez. She was proud of my progress. Said the move had been good for me, that putting physical distance between myself and the trauma had allowed me to process it differently. You're not running anymore, she observed during a session in January. You were running at first, but now you're choosing. There's a difference. She was right. Austin didn't feel like escape anymore. It felt like home. By spring, I'd been promoted again, VP of Marketing, leading a team of 20, making decisions that affected the whole company. The little girl from Tacoma who'd grown up cleaning hotels with her mom had built a career she was proud of, had built it on her own terms, without anyone's help or betrayal or drama. I was proud of that, proud of myself in a way I hadn't been in years. In April, a year after my divorce was finalized, I got a message on social media. Not from Damon or Amara, from Bethany, the coworker who'd filed the complaint that started everything. She wrote, "I hope it's okay that I'm reaching out. I know we don't know each other well, but I wanted to thank you. When I came forward about what Damon did to me, I was terrified no one would believe me. But the investigation that followed, the evidence they found, it validated everything. It showed that he had a pattern of inappropriate behavior. And I heard you handled everything with so much grace. You didn't try to defend him or discredit me. You just focused on moving forward. That took courage. So thank you. For believing women. For not making this harder than it already was." I read the message 3 times, thought about that night at the holiday party, thought about Bethany's allegations and how Damon had sworn they were lies, thought about how I'd believed him initially because I'd wanted to believe him. What else had he lied about? How many other women had there been before Amara? How much of our entire marriage had been a lie? I wrote back, "Thank you for coming forward. I'm sorry you went through that. I'm sorry I didn't see who he really was sooner. I hope you're doing well now." Her response came quickly. "I am. Found a new job, moved on. We both did. We survived him. We survived him." That felt like the right way to think about it. Not that he'd destroyed us, but that we'd survived him. That we'd taken his worst and kept going anyway. Summer brought an unexpected visitor. Kiara flew to Austin for a week. Said she needed to see my new life, make sure I was really okay. We spent the week eating barbecue and swimming in Barton Springs and drinking margaritas on patios. It was the most normal I'd felt in over a year. On her last night, we were sitting on my balcony watching the sunset over Austin. "You seem happy," Kiara said. "Really happy. Not fake happy like you were trying to be in Seattle. Real happy. I am happy. Or at least I'm getting there. Some days are still hard. Some days I still get angry about what they did. But most days I'm just living my life. I'm proud of you, Z, for how you handled all of this, for not letting it break you. It did break me, for a while, but I put myself back together. Maybe not the same as before, but whole enough." She squeezed my hand. "For what it's worth, Amara asks about you all the time. Every time we talk. She wants to know if you're okay, if you've forgiven her, if there's any chance you'd ever talk to her again." My chest tightened. "What do you tell her?" "The truth. That you're thriving. That you've moved on. That forgiveness isn't on the table." "Good. Because it's not. Do you think it ever will be? Years from now? When all this doesn't hurt as much?" I thought about that. Really thought about it. Could I ever forgive Amara? Could I ever look at her and not see the person who'd betrayed me in the worst possible way? "I don't know," I admitted. "Maybe someday I'll get to a place where I don't hate her. Where I can acknowledge that she's a flawed human who made terrible choices but isn't pure evil. But forgiveness? Letting her back into my life? I don't think so. Some things you don't come back from." Kiara nodded. "I get it. And I don't blame you. I wouldn't forgive her either if I were you. Does that make me a bad person? That I can't forgive my own sister? No. It makes you someone with boundaries. Someone who knows their worth. You're not required to forgive people who hurt you just because they're family. Family isn't an excuse for betrayal." That conversation stayed with me for weeks. Made me think about forgiveness, about what it meant and what it required. I'd been operating under the assumption that I'd never forgive Amara, never forgive Damon. That holding on to my anger was somehow protecting me. But was it? Or was it just weighing me down? I brought it up in therapy. "Forgiveness is complicated," Dr. Rodriguez said. "People think it means excusing what someone did or letting them back into your life. But it doesn't have to mean that. Forgiveness can just mean releasing the hold their actions have on you, accepting what happened and choosing not to carry the anger anymore. I don't know if I can do that. The anger feels justified. It is justified. What they did was wrong. Unforgivably wrong. But justified anger can still be exhausting to carry. The question isn't whether your anger is valid, it's whether it's serving you. Was it serving me? I wasn't sure. It motivated me sometimes, made me work harder, push further, prove that I was better than what they'd made me feel, but it also exhausted me. made me cynical, made me keep people at arm's length because trusting anyone felt dangerous. I didn't have an answer. Not yet, but I was starting to think about the questions differently. Fall brought another change. I met someone. Not on an app, not through friends, just randomly at a coffee shop downtown. He was reading a book I loved. I commented on it. We started talking. 3 hours disappeared without either of us noticing. His name was Marcus. He was a teacher at a local high school. Taught English, coached debate. He was funny and kind and had no connection to tech or Seattle or any part of my old life. He was just Marcus, offering to buy me coffee because our conversation had been too good to end. We went on a real date the next week. Then another. Then another. It was slow, careful. I told him on our 4th date that I'd been married, that it had ended badly, that I wasn't sure I was ready for anything serious. He said that was fine, that we could take it as slow as I needed, that he wasn't going anywhere. His patience disarmed me, made me want to trust him even though trust felt dangerous, made me think that maybe, possibly, not everyone would hurt me the way Damon and Amara had. By Christmas, we'd been seeing each other for 3 months. Nothing official, nothing defined, just 2 people spending time together and enjoying it. My mom flew to Austin for the holidays, met Marcus, loved him immediately, said he had kind eyes. After she left, I had a moment of panic. Things were going well with Marcus. Too well. Which meant eventually they'd fall apart. That was the pattern. Everything good eventually revealed itself to be a lie. I almost ended it. Almost pushed him away before he could hurt me. But then I remembered what Dr. Rodriguez said about not letting Damon and Amara's choices determine my future choices. About not punishing good people for bad people's actions. So I didn't end it. I stayed. And Marcus kept being patient, kept being kind, kept showing up without asking for more than I could give. The 2-year anniversary of the HR investigation came in January. 2 years since I'd sat in that conference room and learned that my entire life was a lie. 2 years since everything fell apart. I marked the day quietly, took myself out for a nice dinner, wrote in my journal about how far I'd come, about the life I'd built from the wreckage, about the person I'd become. I wasn't the same Zara who'd walked into that conference room. That Zara had been naive, had trusted too easily, had believed that love and family meant safety. This Zara knew better. This Zara had boundaries, had scars, had wisdom earned through pain. This Zara was stronger, not because she wanted to be, but because she'd had to be. That night, Marcus called, asked if I was okay, said he'd remembered me mentioning that January was hard for me. The fact that he'd remembered. The fact that he'd called just to check. The fact that he didn't push for details or explanations. It cracked something open in my chest. I'm okay, I told him. Better than okay, actually. I'm good. Yeah? Yeah, I'm really good. And I meant it. Spring of my 2nd year in Austin brought closure in an unexpected way. I got an email from Damon. First contact in over a year. The subject line just said, "I owe you this." I almost deleted it without reading. But curiosity won. The email was long. Pages long. He apologized for everything. Not the surface-level sorry he'd offered in the coffee shop, but deep, specific apologies. He apologized for betraying me, for pursuing Amara, for lying for months, for making me doubt my own judgment, for the way he'd handled Bethany's allegations, for being a coward who'd rather sneak around than face the hard conversations. He told me he'd been in therapy, that he'd finally started to understand the depth of what he'd done, that he didn't expect forgiveness but wanted me to know that he understood how badly he'd hurt me, that he took full responsibility. He ended with, "You deserved so much better than what I gave you. You deserved honesty and loyalty and someone who saw your worth. I'm sorry I wasn't that person. I hope you've found happiness. I hope someone is treating you the way you should have been treated all along. You're an incredible woman, Zara. I was lucky to have you and too stupid to appreciate it until it was too late." I read it 3 times, looking for manipulation, for hints that he was trying to worm his way back in, but it seemed genuine, seemed like real accountability. I wrote back 1 line. "I accept your apology. I hope you're doing well." Short, polite, final. He didn't respond, didn't try to continue the conversation, and that felt right. We'd said what needed to be said. Now we could both move on for real. I told Marcus about the email that night. We were at his apartment, cooking dinner together, something we did most weekends now. "How do you feel about it?" he asked, stirring pasta sauce. "Relieved, I think. Like I can let go of some of the anger I've been carrying. He hurt me. Badly. But he's also just a flawed human who made terrible choices, same as everyone else. Does this mean you've forgiven him? I thought about that, about what forgiveness meant, about whether I could truly forgive someone who'd caused so much pain. I don't know if I've forgiven him, but I've released him. Does that make sense? I don't need to carry him anymore. His choices, his guilt, his consequences. They're his to bear, not mine. Marcus smiled. That sounds like growth. Feels like it too. That summer, something unexpected happened. I got a message from Amara. Not directly. She was still blocked on everything. But through Kiara. A long letter that Kiara forwarded to me with a note. She asked me to send this. You don't have to read it, but I thought you should have the option. I sat with the unopened message for 3 days. Debated whether to read it or delete it. Whether I wanted to hear what she had to say after 2 years of silence. Finally, I opened it. The letter was raw. Honest in ways Amara had never been before. She didn't make excuses. Didn't try to justify what she'd done. She just laid out the truth of it. She wrote about how she'd struggled with addiction issues I'd never known about. How she'd been in a dark place when she started working at our company. How Damon had offered attention and validation at a time when she felt worthless. How she'd known it was wrong but had convinced herself it was somehow meant to be. She wrote about the guilt that ate at her every day. About losing not just me but her sense of self. About the therapy she'd been in for 2 years trying to understand why she'd made such destructive choices. About how she'd finally gotten sober, finally started to face who she really was. She wrote, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know what I did is unforgivable. But I need you to know that I understand now. I understand that I didn't just betray you. I destroyed the most important relationship in my life. I lost my sister, my best friend, my hero, and I did it for a man who was using both of us. I was so broken that I couldn't see what I was throwing away until it was gone. She ended with, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking to be part of your life again. I just needed you to know that I see it now. All of it. And I'm sorry. I'm so deeply, truly sorry. I hope you're happy, Z. I hope you found the life you deserved. I hope someone is loving you the way you should have been loved all along. You were always the best of us. I should have protected that. Instead, I destroyed it. That's something I'll carry forever. I cried reading it, not because it changed anything, not because I suddenly wanted to forgive her, but because I could feel the genuine remorse. Could see that she'd done the work, that she understood the depth of what she'd taken from both of us. I didn't respond, didn't send a message back through Kiara, but I saved the letter, put it in a folder on my computer labeled closure, because that's what it was. Not reconciliation, not forgiveness, just closure. The understanding that we'd both moved on, that we were both different people now, that what happened couldn't be undone but could eventually be put to rest. That fall, Marcus and I made things official. After a year of dating, of taking it slow, of building trust carefully, he asked if I wanted to be in a real relationship, exclusive, committed, moving toward a future together. It terrified me. The idea of trusting someone that completely again, of being vulnerable, of risking the kind of pain I'd experienced with Damon. But I said yes anyway, because Marcus had earned my trust, because a year of consistency and kindness and patience had shown me that not everyone would betray me, that some people were safe, that love didn't always end in destruction. We told my mom first. She cried happy tears, said she'd been praying for me to find someone who deserved me, someone who saw my value. Marcus fit that description perfectly. Kiara was thrilled, said she'd never seen me this happy, this relaxed, this much like myself, said Texas had been good for me, said leaving Seattle had been the right choice. By my 3-year Austin anniversary, my life looked nothing like it had in Seattle. New city, new job, new relationship, new version of myself that I actually liked. I'd gone from broken to whole, from victim to survivor, to someone who'd built something beautiful from the ashes. One evening in November, Marcus and I were walking around Zilker Park, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. He'd been quiet all day, nervous in a way that wasn't like him. There's something I want to ask you, he said, stopping on a bridge overlooking the water. My heart started racing. I knew what was coming, could see it in his face, in the way his hand was in his pocket, in the careful setup of this moment. Zara, he took my hands. I know your history. I know you've been hurt badly. I know trusting me hasn't been easy, but for the last 1.5 years, you've let me in. You've given me the chance to show you that love can be safe. That commitment doesn't mean betrayal, and I've tried every day to be worthy of that trust." He pulled out a ring. Simple, beautiful, exactly my style. "I don't want to pressure you. I don't want you to feel like you have to say yes. But I love you. I love you in a way that makes me want to build a life with you, to be the person you come home to show you every single day that you made the right choice in trusting me. So I'm asking, will you marry me?" 3 years ago, I would have said marriage was off the table forever. Would have said I'd never trust anyone enough to try again. Would have let Damon and Amara's betrayal define the rest of my life. But standing on that bridge with Marcus, seeing the hope and love in his eyes, feeling the weight of everything I'd survived and overcome, I realized something. They didn't get to decide my future. They'd taken enough. They didn't get to take this too. "Yes," I said. "Yes, I'll marry you." He slid the ring on my finger, kissed me while the sun set over Austin, and for the first time in years, the future felt bright instead of terrifying. We got married the following spring. Small ceremony in Austin, just close friends and family. My mom and Kiara flew in. Melissa came from Seattle. Marcus's family filled the other half of the guest list. It was intimate, meaningful, nothing like the big wedding I'd had with Damon. This time I knew what I was promising, knew what I was risking, but I also knew that Marcus was worth the risk, that some people were safe to love, that my past didn't have to dictate my future. Amara wasn't invited, wasn't mentioned. It was the first major family event she'd missed in my life, but it felt right. This was my new chapter. She didn't belong in it. The wedding was perfect. Simple vows, heartfelt toasts, dancing under string lights. Marcus cried when I walked down the aisle. I cried during our first dance. We both cried during his vows when he promised to spend every day proving that love could be safe, that trust could be rebuilt, that some people actually meant what they said. My mom gave a toast that destroyed everyone. She talked about watching me survive the worst betrayal imaginable, about watching me rebuild myself piece by piece, about being proud of the woman I'd become, about knowing my dad would have been proud too. "Zara has always been the strongest person I know," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "But the last few years she's shown a kind of strength most people never have to find. She's shown us that you can be broken and still put yourself back together, that you can be betrayed and still trust again, that you can lose everything and still build something beautiful. I'm so proud of her. And I'm so grateful that Marcus sees what I see, that he sees her worth." After the reception, Marcus and I sat on the balcony of our hotel room overlooking downtown Austin. "How are you feeling?" he asked, his arm around me. "Happy, really truly happy. Not grateful, it's not worse happy. Not making the best of it happy, just happy. No regrets? Not a single one. Not even a little voice wondering if I'm going to turn out like Damon?" I looked at him. At this man who'd been patient when I was scared, who'd earned my trust slowly and carefully, who'd never once made me doubt his intentions or his feelings, who'd shown me that good men existed. "No, you're nothing like Damon, and I'm nothing like the woman who married him. We're different people building a different kind of love, one based on honesty and respect and actual commitment, the kind that lasts." He kissed my forehead. "I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret choosing me. I know you will. That's why I chose you." It's been 4 years now since that day in the HR conference room. 4 years since I learned that my husband was cheating with my sister. 4 years since my entire life imploded. Sometimes people ask me if I've forgiven them, if I've reconciled with Amara, if Damon and I are on speaking terms. The answer is always the same: no, and I'm okay with that. Forgiveness is complicated. I don't carry active hatred anymore. Don't spend my days wishing bad things on them. But I also don't have space in my life for people who betrayed me that deeply. Some relationships once broken can't be repaired. And that's okay. It doesn't make me bitter or closed off or unable to move on. It just means I have boundaries. I'm 35 now. I live in Austin with my husband, Marcus. We're talking about buying a house, maybe starting a family. I'm VP of marketing at a company I love. I have friends who value me, a sister who stood by me, a mother who never stopped believing I'd be okay. My life is good, really good, better than it was before everything fell apart, because I built it intentionally this time, built it on truth instead of illusion, built it with people who'd earned their place in it. Amara still lives in Portland, according to Kiara. She's working again, dating someone, trying to build her own life. I hope she's found some peace. I hope she's learned from what happened. But I hope those things from a distance. We're not part of each other's stories anymore. Damon, I have no idea. Haven't heard from him since that email 3 years ago. Don't know if he's married, single, happy, struggling. And I don't need to know. He's just someone I used to be married to. Someone who taught me hard lessons about trust and betrayal. But not someone who has any power over my present. The Slack messages that started everything, the burner accounts that exposed the affair, they're archived somewhere in HR databases. Evidence of betrayal that changed 3 lives. But they're not my whole story. They're just a chapter. The worst chapter. But not the last one. Because here's what I learned from all of this. Betrayal is survivable. Even betrayal from the people you trust most. Even betrayal that's public and humiliating and cuts deeper than you thought possible. You can survive it. You can rebuild. You can trust again. It won't be easy. It will hurt for longer than seems fair. You'll have moments where the pain catches you off guard, where you're angry all over again, where you wonder how people you loved could do something so cruel. That's normal. That's part of healing. But eventually the pain fades. Eventually you stop checking over your shoulder. Eventually you build a life so good that the old life, even at its best, pales in comparison. Eventually you realize that what felt like the end was actually just a terrible, necessary beginning. I'm grateful now. Not for the betrayal. Never for that. But for what came after. For the strength I found. For the life I built. For the man who loved me patiently until I was ready to love him back. For the woman I became when I had no choice but to rebuild from scratch. 4 years ago, I sat in an HR conference room and watched my life fall apart. Today, I'm living a life I actually chose. A life built on truth and respect and real love. A life that's mine. And if you're going through something similar right now, if you're sitting in your own version of that conference room, reading evidence of betrayal and wondering how you'll survive this, I need you to hear me. You will survive. It won't feel like it for a long time, but you will. And on the other side of this pain is a life you can't even imagine yet. A life you'll build yourself. A life that's actually yours. So keep going. Keep breathing. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. And know that someday, years from now, you'll look back on this worst moment and realize it was also the moment everything really began. That's my story. That's how I survived the investigation that revealed my husband's burner messages to my sister. How I survived the betrayal that should have destroyed me. How I built something better from the wreckage. And if this story helped you, if it gave you hope or perspective or just the knowledge that you're not alone, make sure you're subscribed and those notifications are turned on, because we're all just trying to survive our worst moments and find our way to better ones. And sometimes hearing that someone else made it through helps us believe we can too. I made it through. You can too. I promise.